iron. And the idea was that that would come crashing down, keep the enemy out. Above us there would be murder holes. And those murder holes were, well, the idea was to keep people out. And if they got in, to kill them. And through the murder holes they would throw, well, not boiling oil, that's a little bit expensive, but boiling water, hot sand, maybe even, in later times, gunpowder. And when the loose gunpowder then fell on the men trying to get into the castle, they would simply drop a taper onto them and they would whoosh, explode and catch fire. Dreadful. But castles weren't all about defence and attack. Castles were also a statement of wealth and power. And as we walk through the gate here into Raglan, into the Fountain Court, we can see just what we mean by that. Now, originally, in the centre of this court was, well, a fountain. That's what it's called, Fountain Court. But if we look around us, we can see the evidence on the walls of just how grand this place was. Now, just behind me is the gate. And that's the gate that would have kept people out. But it was also a gate for welcoming people in. And then as we walk around, we can see the hall here, magnificently painted, because in those days, most castles weren't just rough stone walls like we see today. They would have been plastered, they would have been painted, or rather lime washed, so they would have shone out magnificently white and golden. Very, very impressive for a first impression. As you came through into this wonderful fountain court, with this fountain gurgling away, you would see to this side the evidence of the hall. Just behind us here is a magnificent banqueting hall. So that's where you would go for grand dinners, where the Lord, the herb and so on of the sunsets, wanted to impress you with his wealth. Though of course that meant if the sovereign was coming, the king or the queen, it could mean financial ruin if they weren't careful, because with the queen or the king came hundreds of people, the royal court, and they all needed to be accommodated. So where would they stay? Well, all this area here, which now is just ruined, would have been magnificent apartments. You can see hanging on the walls there, fireplaces. Now each fireplace indicates that there was once a room in that position, and the room would have had beautifully decorated walls. And if you go to a castle such as Cardiff Castle or maybe Castle Court, you'll see that the walls have been painted very light yellow with red lines on them. These red lines symbolise blocks of stone. So this castle would have been magnificent, not just a place to protect the owner of the castle, to keep the enemies out, but to entertain. As well as being a military fortification, it was also a grand house. And what a house that was. Outside the castle, in the countryside surrounding it, in the immediate area, beautiful walled gardens, lakes, stocked full of fish. Why did they do that? Well, very simple. You've got a lot of people working in a castle, 100 people working to run a place such as this. They need feeding, they like fish. So not only was it a sport, fishing, it was essential for food. So you had the lakes, you had the ornamental gardens around the outside as well. You had garages, airports, you had all sorts of wonderful things, such as fountains full of wine.